Hola mi gente, hello all my beautiful people. Welcome back for another episode of Level Up, Unfiltered and Unapologetic. This week we're talking about hitting rock bottom. We've all been there and it sucks, so let's talk about it together. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, so this week we're talking about hitting rock bottom. How many of you have been there? I've absolutely been there. My year was 2019. 2019? Yeah. 2018 going into 2019, right before the pandemic. It was an absolutely horrible year that completely rocked and changed my life. So, for those of us that have been there, being in rock bottom completely sucks your energy. It sucks your life. It's like getting rocked. It's hitting you from all different angles, from all different places. So, how are you doing today? Where are you today? It's important for us to take a step back and see where we are, especially when we don't feel ourselves continuing to move forward, when we feel ourselves stuck, when we feel ourselves victim to just about every single issue. It's hitting us at all hours and where it's not letting up. That's rock bottom. It sucks, and sometimes it feels impossible to get out of. Are we ever going to get out of this rut? When it's staring down at us, it feels impossible to be able to gain the strength to be able to push up and out. Now, here's the thing that I learned about rock bottom from my own personal experience. If I sprinkle in my expertise in there, here's how we can reframe rock bottom. It's the lowest point that you can possibly go. It is also the ultimate challenge of character. So it's up to us what we want to make out of it. So something that we can do is that we can reframe the experience. What I want to make very clear is that I'm not encouraging you to either sweep up or wave off the difficulty of the situation. That's part of the problem. Whether you're hitting rock bottom or you're encountering any other stressor or any other issue, problem in your life, the last thing I want you guys to do is wave it off and minimize it as if it's not a big deal. That in itself is part of the problem, because then you are paying little importance to what the true issue at hand is. So instead, how about we do this? I want you guys to sit where you're at. Feel every emotion, every experience, every frustration to the last drop. Stuff starts to get overwhelming when we don't allow ourselves to wring out like a rag and have everything come out, because we're trying so hard to push it aside or focus on other priorities and put it on the back burner. So sit there, but don't live there. Give yourself a limit. And this could be literally set yourself 20 minutes. You can journal, you can cry, you can pout, you can throw a temper tantrum. Allow yourself the time to grieve, to be angry, to cry, whatever, and no judgment during that period of time. Pay attention to falling victim of the doom and gloom. When you're at rock bottom, it's so overwhelming and it's hard to pull yourself out of that state mentally. This is where your support system is very important. When we have our support system that is willing to be as honest as possible because they love us, they will pull us out of that place of doom and gloom when it's hard for us to do so for ourselves. So don't fall victim to that narrative, because it's only going to almost dig you deeper into that rock bottom. And most importantly, guys, the way I've been advocating since day one, do not blame yourself. You're already in a really crappy situation. The last thing you want to do is should on yourself. I should be doing this. I should have done that. I should have done differently. Cut it right there. So make sure we are not blaming ourselves to add more stress and more guilt and more difficulty to an already difficult situation. Instead, let's do this. So these are my 4 do's. We went over the don'ts. Let's now go over the do's, starting with number 1. Observe. You know these are my favorites. They are my go-tos, and I'm going to repeat them today, and I'm going to continue repeating them forward because this is what it's truly about. We need to observe. Take a step back. Deep breath, kind of like the way we talked last week. When we take a step back, time out, we have the right to take a break and observe things with a little bit of distance between us and them. Now we can see the problem for what it is. It's kind of like your nose. You can't see your nose on your face because it's too close, right? So we want to put enough space between ourselves and the issue at hand so that we have a better perspective. Pan out so we can see it on a whole level. So observe. What's going on? Where am I? When did this even happen? How can I get myself out of this situation? Observe. No judgment, just observe. Number 2, most importantly, and probably one of the most difficult ones because it's going to come along with judgment. Acceptance. We want to accept where we are. If we're at rock bottom and we resist it, what have we talked about resistance? When we start to resist stuff, it's only going to push back that much harder. So, hey, I'm here. I'm at rock bottom and I'm looking up and it looks impossible to get myself out of here, but I'm here. And that's the situation. So, what can I do to learn from this situation? Which is then going to take us to number 3. Evaluate. What can I do differently? What was done before? What have I tried and hasn't worked? This is your opportunity to get creative. Are you guys noticing a little bit of a pattern? Anytime I offer a certain theme every week, it's going to have similar solutions. And it might sound repetitive, so don't get bored. What happens is that when we feel like we should be reinventing the wheel of solutions for our problems, that's when we become overwhelmed. Instead, how about we develop one system, have that blueprint to refer to every time we have a problem? So what have I been saying? Observe, you want to identify, you want to evaluate. This is going to make problem solving in your life so much easier. Have your little staples, have your blueprint, and refer to it every time that there's an issue. Most importantly, for rock bottom specific situations, you want to use it to propel you forward. Use that ground. Root yourself, dig your toes into that rock, and use it as momentum to push you forward, up and out. There's nowhere lower to go than rock bottom. So once you're able to wring yourself free, every last drop of all those emotions, you evaluate and you observe where you are in the current moment, what you've done, what you can do, be creative, trial and error, and then realize that the very thing you think you've crashed into is something that you can push off of. Use it. At the end of the day, guys, we've all been to this place. It's cold and it's damp and it's dark and it just flat out sucks. It rocks us and it challenges us to the very core, but know that the beauty of rock bottom is that it's right beneath you. You can use it as a trampoline, use it as a catapult to push you up to the next step. And then when we get to that one, use that ground to push you up to the next step. So if you see what we're doing, we're creating the next higher low and the next higher low, and creating almost like a step ladder for ourselves so that exponentially we are creating, what would this be? Like little steps that we can bounce off of, and then we're essentially doing one of these. Rock bottom doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's a horrible experience and it feels terrible, and I want you to be able to embrace and accept all of the feelings that come along with it. But you don't have to fall victim to it. Use it, push off of it as motivation to propel you forward. Yes, you can do it. use this as your motivation. I hope you guys found this week's message helpful. We've all been suffering from a lot of stress, a lot of difficulty, particularly in the last few years. Come on. I know I'm not alone in that one. We're in it together. That's why I bring it up. That's why I want to talk about it. You're not alone. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, any comments, any curiosities, please feel free to DM me, shoot me an email. Let's talk about it. Mi gente, no se vayan. Please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms so you can keep up with the latest level up lessons. I hope you found this week helpful. I see you next week.